Hey everyone, Durrani here from VG247, and let's take a look at the top 7 games releasing in July 2021. We are starting it off with our second dose of Monster Hunter this year. Aren't we lucky? We had Rise in March and now we have Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin. It's the second installment to a turn-based RPG set in the Monster Hunter universe. It's playful, bursting with personality, and we play as the grandchild to a legendary rider on a quest to test the bonds of friendship with our monsties and save the world against the potential threat of a legendary Rathalos. If you didn't like Monster Hunter Rise's gameplay because it was maybe a bit too challenging but enjoyed the characters and learning about the monsters, definitely give Stories a look into. It's way more accessible and there's a demo out now, so you can give it a try. It releases on July 9th on Nintendo Switch and PC. It's time to find and save Zelda again, because next up is The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD for the Nintendo Switch, releasing July 16th. This is actually the earliest story in the whole Zelda timeline, and we'll learn about the origin of Link's iconic Master Sword as we slash through our enemies with our tried and trusted sword and shield. In the original version of the game, you had to do all the slashing for real, with it being built around the motion controls on the Wii. But this time there's more traditional controls as well as all the motion stuff. Skyward Sword HD has all of the Zelda elements that we love, characters to meet, a huge world to explore, puzzles to solve, and who knows, maybe replaying it might offer us a hint into what the floating island aesthetic of Breath of the Wild 2 is about. The first simulator game on this list, and I never thought I'd be saying this, but F1 2021 is actually the game I'm most looking forward to in July. I've been on such a Formula 1 hype recently, ever since watching Drive to Survive on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, give it a watch, which is super dramatized, but it's really got me into it, and I've been keeping up with all of the races this year. I can't wait to speed around the track in the Red Bull or McLaren, channeling my inner Max Verstappen or Daniel Ricciardo. F1 2021 is out July 16th on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S. Here's an odd one for you. Death's Door. It's a fantasy action adventure set in a world where nothing naturally dies anymore. I love weird and abstract games, and it's not often you get to reap souls as a sword-wielding crow. Combat takes place in confined spaces where actions need to be deliberate, mistakes are punished, and victory is rewarded. There is character progression and new weapons to find, and if the footage you're seeing of a bird hack and slashing with a brolly isn't doing it for you, then I don't know, man. I don't know what you want from games anymore these days. I can't wait for Death's Door. It's out on July 20th. It's on PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S. Take to the skies in Microsoft Flight Simulator when it comes to Xbox Series X and S, July 27th. And it's coming to Xbox Game Pass day 1. It's already out on PC, and this game looks incredible. One thing that's always blown my mind with Flight Simulator is how you can fly anywhere in the world because it streams real-time map data from Bing Maps from the cloud straight to the game. That is ridiculous tech. Fly to your house, fly to places you've always wanted to see, become a tourist of the skies. Flight Simulator is definitely a must-play for July. Apparently, people have been waiting 14 years for this one. Neo: The World Ends With You releases on Nintendo Switch and the PS4 July 27th. A sequel to the beloved Nintendo DS RPG that had a second lease of life on mobile. It has an action-packed real-time combat system and lets players take on all manner of activities on the streets of Shibuya, Tokyo. The music is kick-ass, the art style is funky. In fact, as someone who's never played the original, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Jet Set Radio's art style, but it also obviously shares a lot with Kingdom Hearts because it was developed by a lot of the same people. Supposedly, it can take up to 100 hours to complete, says game director Hiroyuki Ito. The Ascent releases July 29th on PC and Xbox Series X and S. It's a day 1 on Xbox Game Pass, which is always great for the gamers. Game Pass is so worth the money these days when you get great games like this being added so frequently. The Ascent is a twin-stick ARPG with a cyberpunk aesthetic. Take up arms solo or co-op against an evil corporation that owns everyone and everything. Loot, gear, character progression is all here to keep you playing, and the gunplay does look solid. They have this cool mechanic where you can aim high to shoot over cover, but I know that doesn't sound like much, but it's a big part of the game's combat. And would you believe that this game was only made by 11 people? Hats off to Neon Giant, the devs of The Ascent. Those are our top games for July 2021, but let's do our honorable mentions. Shinoblight releases July 28th, an RPG survival horror reminiscent of the Stalker games with a dash of Metro and Fallout. Tribes of Midgard releases July 27th, a 1 to 10 player co-op action survival RPG, slay giants and mythical beasts that threaten to bring on Ragnarok. Chris Tales releases July 20th, a love letter to classic JRPGs inspired by games such as Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI, also coming to Xbox Game Pass. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles releases July 27th, the drama of the Ace Attorney series set in a Victorian era Britain. That is it for our top 7 games releasing in July. What ones are you most excited for, or maybe convinced me to check out a game that wasn't on this list? I'm Durrani from VG247. Peace out, everyone.